Hello, Zach. It's going to be a weird one.
It is going to be the weirdest one we've done in a while. It's a new series with the same format.
Yeah. Uh, which we've been talking about for a long time. We've been discussing the possibility of doing like alternate stuff, not exclusively a Song of Ice and Fire stuff. And this is the first of those. Zach, are you excited?
I am actually genuinely really excited.
Yeah.
I thought that we would start off with something like it's a real banger, and then with the hint you gave me, I know we're starting off with a real banger. So
Absolutely.
this is
Absolutely.
actually genuinely really exciting because we're going to talk about one of my favorite horror movies ever.
And I would like to throw your first clue at you. Individuality and isolation are major themes in 1982's The Thing. Oh, that says 1892. We're starting off on the right
Uh,
foot.
yeah, classic H.G. Wells, The Thing. Uh,
Yes, this is Jules Verne's The Thing.
it was done by broadcast with Orson Welles.
Orson Scott Wells.
Orson Scott Welles, yes.
Okay, all right,
Uh,
Zach, here we go. Are you ready? We're on a new
I
channel.
we're on a new channel.
Would you
This
like to
is
explain the rules of the game?
the rules are we call this deal me a card sometimes. Tom has a theory for me this time about John Carpenter's The Thing, and it is my duty to guess the theory by poking in different directions. Tom will tell me ding when I've gotten close to something, and then that ding will be a piece of evidence that pops up on our little conspiracy board here. Tom will sometimes draw arrows to try and guide me in the right direction until I figure out what the theory is.
Duty.
I,
Welcome to the show. Zach, tell me, what's cool about this one is like with the Song of Ice and Fire ones, we know like each other's openings a lot of the time. Like we've played
yeah.
against each other so many times that we can get there pretty fast.
We also know how that book series exists in our brains of like what the other person wants it to be, where they think the story's going, stuff like that.
Yeah,
With horror movies, I know what you enjoy, but I don't know exactly how some of them live in your brain, which is where theories come from. It's the story beneath the story, how you view the subtext of it.
mm-hmm.
And this is a movie chock full of subtext.
Hell yeah. Uh, I I looked it up. I don't believe this theory is original. Um, but it's certainly not anywhere close to common, and I think that you're gonna like it.
I was gonna say you're too familiar with theories for this to be the is one of them the thing at the end theory
Uh,
because that one's been debated to death forever.
Now hang on. That might be a ding. Say a little bit more about that.
In the very end of the thing, we have killed off most of the main characters. There is a big explosion. We think we have killed the thing, but it's very hard to know that for sure. It is only McCready and Childs who are left, and neither of them had seen where the other had went. Uh, and they acknowledged that they can't prove a goddamn thing and drink scotch.
That ding and ding. Mac and Childs are the only two people alive at the end of the movie. And Mac and Childs share a bottle of scotch at the end of the movie.
There's a theory that the scotch is not actually scotch and he's like performing some sort of trick, but there's no evidence for that.
I love that theory so much. That's so much fun. That like cuz previously he had been making Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
So he the idea is that he took one of his Molotov cocktail scotches and offered it to Childs, and Childs drank, and so he's a thing because he didn't recognize the taste of the gasoline, which is insane and exactly the kind of shit that we're doing today.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is there's a wonderful parallel. Rich Evans of Red Letter Media, who I shout out religiously, pointed this out in there. One of my favorite video series, I think I've mentioned it, our main channel, is I love Jay and Rich's ranking all the John Carpenter films, and I rewatch it every October.
Mm-hmm.
I will go through it all again. When they talk about the thing, he points out that in the beginning he's playing chess on that chess computer,
Ding.
and when he loses, he gets frustrated and he pours his fucking scotch into the computer.
Which is so funny, by the way.
That computer is one of the most expensive pieces of 1982 technology, and he fucking blows it up because he lost at chess. Which is a comparison at the end of the movie when he realizes he's been outsmarted by the thing. His solution is to blow everything up.
Yep, absolutely. His solution is Molotov cocktails.
I cannot beat the thing individually, so I just need to blow up the whole research station.
Let's see. I actually need to organize this reasonably well to make sure that yeah, so this needs to go like over here. There's actually like there's several pieces to this that I think you're going to need to get. This is what's wonderful about this is it's also just a great excuse for us to talk about stuff we like.
Yeah, yeah. This movie is incredible. It is one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and it's just a fun watch.
Yeah,
It's just so good
it's
to like
good.
throw this one on.
It's good. There's no line in this film that isn't great.
Yeah.
One of your dings, by the way. Oh no, I guess it's not. I have that written down, but it won't really help you. I just have it written down because it's my favorite line in the movie. It's not relevant. I just have it written down.
Is it Mac needs a flamethrower?
No, no, that's fun though. Mm. No, my favorite line is by Commander Gary.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I
It's
don't
okay.
know.
You don't need to do it right now. We will get there. We will get there. Don't worry. So, and like if you're new to the format, we have all these little pieces. And we're gonna put all these little pieces on the board, and we're gonna see if Zach can string them together into the theory that I'm doing.
Okay, so well, let's just talk about the main themes we're going for here. You said isolation and individuality,
Correct.
and that's true because the thing can be a pretty good fake version of you. Uh,
It's true.
people who are the thing are able to take part in scenes that they are like fooling people in the wonderful blood test scene that everybody loves and adores. He's just sitting there being a normal person the whole time. And at one point, forgetting his name, the Clark. Clark is acting up and like not getting along with McCready. So McCready kills him, and it turns out he is not Thing. He had killed a person who's not one of the monsters. Is not been replaced.
That is
So
two, at least two dings. Clark attempts to kill Mac. It turns out he is not a thing. Another of my favorite lines. What's the line that Childs delivers after this?
um
The amazing, the fantastic. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. It's not Wilford Brimley. It's the other one. The other famous actor in this movie. Not Mac. Not Wilford Brimley. Oh my God, who
oh
plays Childs? I
Keith
can't remember.
David.
Keith
Keith
David. Thank
David.
you, Keith David. Keith David, whose best role may now be. He may have a new best role. I don't know if you've seen Has Been Hotel, but
I have not seen Has Been Hotel. I've seen all the memes of if blank was written by Missy Pop though.
I I strongly recommend listening to Keith David's song "Loser." It's great.
I will do that.
Hmm. That's the kind of song that you would cover, and I do. I mean that as a compliment.
That I accept that as a compliment. I do want to point out. I think Keith David uh, did some video game role that I really like, and I'm
Oh,
completely
oh,
forgetting it.
absolutely. He is the Arbiter in Halo.
Oh yeah, that's also true. I completely forgot he's the Arbiter. Yeah.
He's
The
also
the
the
only character in the only character they decided to give like an arc to in the entire Halo franchise.
yeah. How dare you talk that way about Cortana?
Sorry, the only character they decided to give a good arc to.
You can't do that to me while I'm drinking water. Uh, yeah. He's also the sergeant, I think, in Modern Warfare 2, who I'm very fond of.
Yeah.
Yeah, your bullets are firing all over the damn place. I love him so much. He's such a fun actor, and he's fantastic in this movie. And Zach, what's his line at the blood test scene? What's his line after we test Clark?
Uh, uh, that makes you a murderer.
You're damn
Or
right. That makes you a murderer, doesn't it? Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. This movie's so good, Zach. I'm just nerding
it
out
is.
about this movie. I don't have to. I like this movie. It's just really good.
There is no theory. We just wanted to talk about the thing.
Yeah, it's wild. It's almost like that was the premise of the channel. We just wanted to talk about Game of Thrones, so we made up a reason.
Yep.
All right, Zach, you referenced one of the most important scenes in the entire movie. That scene I am calling the Blood Test Council. And that has
Uh, it,
plenty of dings inside it.
it starts off with Mac's idea. He believes that the thing, like each individual cell, is its own thing. Uh, and
Correct.
so
Ding.
this is based off of the I forget who was the head of him falls off and starts crawling away with like grotesque limbs, and that shows that like it's not just possessing the person; it is some gooey cellular monster.
It appears that every instance of the thing has its own autonomy until reconnected. And there's a few things that suggest this. My favorite is I think it's hang on. I think it's Bennings. I think it's Bennings. No, I think it's Palmer. I think it's Palmer who um sees the thing head crawling away in that truly phenomenal scene. Uh and is like, Jesus Christ. He brings everyone else's attention to the thing to, if we take a game theory perspective, to remove doubt from himself.
Yes,
Uh
there's so much going on in that scene. It's such a wonderful encapsulation of the entire like theme of the movie and all the ideas that are in it.
oh yeah.
Uh, McCready starts this own like insane like theory that he can't prove. It's proven right there in front of him. He's slowly giving agency back to the other people. Once they have passed his version of like a test, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels really like post-apocalyptic, like drumhead trial sort of thing.
Yes, yes.
Like the person with the most confidence and the most gun has decided what is correct.
He is literally holding everybody else hostage until they clear his definition of trustworthy.
And
Uh,
it is in this scene, by the way, that Commander Gary delivers my favorite line.
Shoot, hold on. I'm thinking. Is that the untie? Now, will you do me a favor and untie me?
Yes, absolutely. I believe it goes I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, but when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of the winter tied to this fucking couch. It's really funny. It's really funny and really good. And like the scene before that, while he and Childs are still tied together, Childs is like trying to like hop away from him. So he's the last one tied up, but he knows he's gonna pass the blood test, so it's not suspenseful for him. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god. Like just the phrase "I know you gentlemen have been through a lot" is really funny to me.
It is a really, really good line.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible that like that scene can be so tense and still have like an element of humor to it, that like gallows humor sort of thing.
Yeah.
It speaks to how like well the characters are all written.
Like it's so funny. All right, Zach, carry on. There's some stuff in this scene that is relevant, and there's some stuff in other scenes that are relevant. You
Yeah,
know this movie.
somebody fails the blood test.
Yes, they do. Let me see here. Who like uh uh you will have to pardon me. The names of the characters do not stick in my brain very well in this
I
film.
was about to say the same thing. I remember Childs. I remember Mac. I remember one of them is Wilfred Brimley. Sometimes I even remember the name of Wilfred Brimley's character.
Wilfred Brimley's character is Blair.
That's
And
right,
also
Blair.
Ding. Blair is the biologist on
And
board the station.
he
Under
smashes
him
up all the computers too.
is Fuchs, comma, the assistant biologist. And Ding. Wait, you're gonna come down here. Uh Blair destroys all of the radio and transportation equipment. Uh, and I think, I'll just give you a little prompt here. What does this lead a lot of fans to believe about Blair?
A lot of people believe that Blair is possessed by the thing at that point, and is doing that intentionally to stop, like, I don't know, the word from getting out so that somebody can come and stop it from being spread, sort of thing.
Interesting. This is the opposite of what I was looking for.
Uh, uh, Other people like me, my belief is that Blair destroyed it all to prevent it from getting out. He was trying intentionally to further isolate everybody so that the thing would die with them.
Many fans believe that Blair cannot be a thing, uh, uh, because of these acts. If we
Which,
assume that the thing is acting like an infectious disease, it is Blair is enacting a quarantine protocol here.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
However, there's also the possibility that Blair is a thing and is intentionally trying to stop word from getting out so that they are unprepared for when it does get out, I suppose.
That is I think either of these is interesting. None of them is neither of them is exactly what I'm looking for you to think about while this is on screen. But either might help you in the future. So carry on.
Hmm. Okay.
Like legit,
Let's
you're gonna get a
say
lot of dings just by talking about scenes you like.
they put Wilfred Brimley into a separate room. Like keep him away from everybody else.
Ding.
Uh,
Wilfred Brimley uh is locked up and isolated. Very good.
I believe when they come back, he's sitting there and he says he wants to come back in, but there's also a noose in the background.
Ding. Oh, I shouldn't have said Wilford Brimley. I should have said what's his name? Blair. Blair
Blair.
uh uh is then seen with some conspicuous, that's a hard word to say, conspicuous rope, uh, begging to come back inside.
which is quite the pivot from wanting to die
Yes,
to
absolutely.
wanting to go back in.
Keep this in mind. That is important. That this boop 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 boop.
I always thought that was weird. And that's why I believed more likely that he was not a thing at the beginning, or like because he's destroying all the equipment. And then later he wants to come back in, and there's a noose behind him, which makes you think like, no, something's going on there.
Yeah, something is not right with Blair. So this is extremely important. This dissonance, right? This right here. Is that too fat? Is that pen too fat? What do you think?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay. Shoop, boop, 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 boop. This being very different, that's important. This is a remarkable turn from the way he was earlier in the film.
Yeah. And he was behaving very erratically, and then uh does not have um a what you call it he does not have like any sense of like shame about that. He just wants to go back in. I mean, I think he has like a little bit like, I'm sorry, like acting up so much. But like the noose is right there that he's like planning to kill himself with. He doesn't like feel the need to take that down before making his pitch of like,
Yeah,
I'm totally sane, guys.
yeah.
I'm in a good spot right now. Please ignore the like area where I was planning to kill myself earlier. Like
Um,
that's a little strange.
well, this video got recategorized again, but that's fine. Uh, yes. This is it's a very different a very different thing. And I watched this week, and he's like, I'd like to come back inside. I'm better now. I'm better. I'd like to come back inside. Whereas when he was first put in, like there was nothing. I don't know. There was nothing like worrying about him. You know what I mean? He was acting like
Yeah,
himself. What he said was to the effect of, I understand why you're putting me in here, but you watch Palmer. You watch him close.
yeah. It was not that he was like completely off his rocker. Is that he was using his like rational concerns to do somewhat irrational things. He was spooked. He knew that the thing was in there. He didn't trust people, and he was banging up and destroying equipment to make sure it couldn't get out and if like infect the whole rest of the world.
Yes.
He was not losing his mind. He was uh acting a bit too irrationally based on a reasonable fear.
Uh,
That's that's a wonderful point.
isn't that interesting? Um, and this would be really hard to get, so I'm gonna give you this one. In between these two things, Mac makes a report stating it has been uh 24 hours since he killed the um since he killed which
It's the
thing,
dog, right?
the Bennings thing, since he killed Bennings thing.
Okay.
The dog was a little while before, but only a couple of hours, right? It was earlier in the day. Whereas this is also important that he has been in here. He's been like they've been in Antarctica for months. Um, and Blair seems to go like Lovecraft mad in one day.
Yes. Uncharacteristically, and
Yes.
also without anybody noticing the like slow descent.
Yep. That is a remarkably fast turnaround for our dear friend Blair. All right.
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that
very.
interesting? Yeah. I'm trying to like paint over these these arrows. It's not really working, but it is kind of fun. This is just a hard angle to get. All right, carry on. What else you got?
Let's see. Uh, we have the whole space underneath the blood test council. We haven't
Yeah,
really filled in all that much.
yeah,
They do not test Wilford Brimley Blair's uh, blood in that scene,
that's correct.
and they don't get a chance to because the entire room gets destroyed when one of them is the thing.
Um, ding. Palmer tests positive again in one of the best moments of the entire movie, where uh uh Mac is talking shit to Blair, and then he tests Palmer's blood and it like jumps at him.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, they do a wonderful film thing there where it is his real hand in that same position every scene prior, and the gag is inside the fake hand, and they cut back to a fake hand in the same position as he's doing that, and he does it so quick that you don't notice that it's been swapped out. So like it's perfectly like shocking to you.
It's so
And
good.
it is incredible, and I love it.
uh 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 what's his name? Hang on. Childs test negative at the blood test at the council. Um and this is important. This will lead to something else out here, but I won't tell you what it is. Boop boop. And oh, and I just have some other casualties for individuals who can't who won't do anything else. Um, Clark attempted to kill Mac should have been in here. That's fine. Um, and what's his name? Windows is
Yes.
eaten at the blood test council. He appears to be changing into a thing almost immediately. Right? They walk away for like 20 minutes and they come back and he's halfway through his transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some more in there, but we'll get to them when we get to them. I'm actually moving you. I'm moving you.
And when Palmer is called out, he immediately starts morphing into his like monster thing form.
Correct.
So he knows like the thing is not dumb. The thing uh knows when the charade can be kept up and when it can be broken, which is a high level of intelligence.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about Blair. What did Blair do right before this?
That was the test that showed how quickly it would spread, right?
Correct. Blair runs a simulation. Uh, and determines that the world would be 100% thing in 27,000 hours. Which is just like this wild like is this amazing 1982 simulation technology?
Yeah, yes. He has a like virus a pandemic like simulator on his computer in Antarctica in 1982, which is a little bit weird, but it's not that weird considering he's like a biologist who like extreme renown because he ended up in Antarctica. Like you don't end up there unless you're a pretty damn good scientist. Like I could assume that he has like a program that is like at least rough and ready for that sort of calculation. I'm sure it doesn't look video gamey like it does in the
Yeah, that's some movie shit. It's fine. I'm not
it
mad
would
about it.
it would look like a text-based adventure. But yes,
Yeah, because
uh
basically he made some assumptions like about rate of infection and then just
yeah.
did some calculus. Uh and then I assume he spent the next like 2 hours hard coding those wonderful graphics where the thing cells transform into the other ones. Right. The computer did not do that. Wilford Brimley did that. He was bored. He just did that.
Yeah. He was bored and paranoid and needed something to do.
God, that scene's so funny. But I think it's important uh for some of the rest of my theory. What context does that put the thing into?
Hmm.
Blair is not treating it like an alien invasion. What's he treating
He's
it like?
treating it like a disease,
Correct.
like a
Um,
communicable disease.
Blair and Fuchs the both treat the thing like a communicable disease. That's almost word for word how I have it on my sheet.
Yeah. Uh, and I suppose that makes sense because it is like since it's at a cellular level, like uh, it can spread all over the place, and since it replaces you, like it is looking for a human to copy. It would spread like that. In fact, it does spread like that in the film.
Yeah. Do you recall what Fuchs says about the disease?
No, Fuchs is the other biology guy who gets it. Is that the guy who gets his arms eaten?
No, that's Dr. Copper. This is the guy who goes wandering on his own and gets eaten.
Uh, I don't remember what Fuchs says.
I think we've been puttering around. We've been talking about it like a communicable disease, so we've been like kind of puttering around it. I'll just give it to you. Um, Fuchs recommends everyone eat out of cans and prepare their own food. Uh,
Which is
because
disease recommendations.
absolutely, because the smallest contamination could be enough. I believe he actually says because one particle is enough.
Are you asserting that at the end they are both things because they breathe in the particles of the thing they blew up?
Now, Zach, you can't just jump ahead like that. No, that sentence, as it is stated, is not what I'm suggesting. But keep it in mind.
So, I, are you arguing that like you can? I guess because we see people who get different levels of like attacked by the thing, right?
Yeah,
Windows gets his head like almost bitten off. Like he is attacked for a long good while. He is in the jaws of the Palmer thing for way long enough to kill him.
correct. What now? Why is that enough to kill him? It's not. Why is that enough to turn him quickly?
He's getting a larger dose, is what you're arguing.
Correct. Absolutely
There's
100% correct.
there's a difference in viral load between like walking past somebody on the street who has the cold and you know, licking on their doorknob for 5
Ooh,
minutes.
that's a bingo. Zach, I have great news. We're switching to another document. Yeah, yeah, I did calculus for this video. Hang on, where are they? Okay, I gotta make sure that it is the correct one. Okay, all right. I used smallpox as my example disease. Uh,
Okay, that's probably a good one.
right. That seems like we don't know how fast like smallpox will spread, because humans will respond and there's a whole bunch of factors, but like it is extremely communicable and deadly. This seems like a fair comparison. um
Yeah.
and I found this. I actually have this. Hang on, where'd it go? I have this cited. This is the infectious dose of smallpox from the University of California, Berkeley, by Nickus Hubbard, Jones, and Reingold, 2004. They say a highly virulent strain has a probability dose of one of close to one of successful infection per virus particle. If you get one particle of smallpox in your mouth, you probably get smallpox.
Yeah.
That seems like a close enough. That sentence was the one that I was looking for when looking for a a comparable disease, and that's the one that I decided to go with because that's like basically exactly what Fuchs says. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, if you get it in you, it will eventually take over. Or
Yes,
it could be replacing you at the cellular level.
absolutely. But what is the problem with this? People say, I'm going to flip back over here, right? People say down here that Blair cannot be a thing because of these acts. Blair can't be a thing because he
But he
destroys the
could
communications
but
thing.
he could be infected.
Ding at 100%. I assert that Windows transforms almost immediately because he gets a huge dose. But that Blair is already infected.
And he has agency still. He's still in control of his body because it is only like started with blood cells, but like it's starting to get to the point where it's uh, uh, taking control of him, and that would explain the noose. Also, if he feels like he's losing control of parts of his body, he might be like, "Oh no, I'm turning."
Yep, 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 yep. Absolutely. Um, I did this. This is very back of the napkin. Uh, assuming a doubling rate of 10 minutes, which is the average for most bacteria cells. Um, if you got 25,000 bacteria cells in your mouth, you would be 100% bacteria cells in 5 hours. And I think that there is a dose that Blair would have gotten that is just about 25,000 cells. Would you like to know when that is, Zach? Would you like to guess? Do you know when Blair got a very specific dose of thing that I tested the amount of?
When?
Blair does the autopsy on the thing that they bring back, the dog thing.
Yes.
And he reaches his hands in, and then he takes his gloves off, and then he takes his fucking pencil and he pokes it, and he taps the pencil eraser on his mouth.
Oh my God,
I
you're totally
swear to
right.
God, he taps the pencil eraser. I wish I had a picture. I swear to God, he taps the pencil eraser on his mouth.
No, you're 100% right. He does do that.
And I
Yeah,
I actually tested this myself, Zach.
incredible.
I actually tested the amount of fluid that you would get on a pencil eraser, the amount that would not be noticeable, like you wouldn't feel it, but that is still present. Um,
Yeah.
and the amount that I came to is about half a Q-tip.
I mean, and that makes like if you I was on COVID protocol recently, and the amount you need to get on a Q-tip there to test isn't all that much
It's
to
not a
like
lot.
enough, yeah, to have the viral load necessary to conclusively say or not is not that big of a load of the disease.
It
And
brings
if it's something as hostile as the thing, that might be enough.
absolutely. In fact, I assume like it's about a tenth of a milliliter rather. About a tenth of a milliliter is the amount that I could get on a pencil eraser and not notice it was there. A tenth of a milliliter of blood has about 25,000 cells. And 25,000 cells, if you dap them on your lip, that is enough for the thing to eat you.
I buy it. I
What
buy it wholeheartedly.
what you think?
I I'm on board.
Yeah,
that,
yes,
that
yeah.
tracks.
Also, here's this graph. Look at this graph. This is just the graph. This is the exponential growth graph for infection, assuming it takes 25,000 hours. 27,000 hours for the whole Earth to be infected. I like it. It's not
Yeah,
relevant.
which well, no, that's good because it shows that the world probably would only just begin to realize what's happening before it's too late.
Yes, yeah, and this is important, right? So the time you have is 5 hours. You're 100% thing in 5 hours. But if you pull back like 10 doubling cycles, if you pull back 100 minutes, so at 3 hours, um, you are only like 1% thing, right? So you might not
Yeah.
even notice that you're infected yet. But Wilford Brimley ran these simulations, and Fuchs, his protege, is treating it like an infectious disease. The reason that this conspicuous rope is here, he got to
'Cause he
like four
figured it out.
hours. He realized that at 4 he started to get the symptoms, so he put the rope up. But by the time he put the rope up, he was no longer in control of himself enough to do it.
I love this theory.
Yeah, yes, this theory also pertains to another character. What's another character who got a small dose of thing, but didn't start being weird until later? Also, I'm gonna fill this in. Childs shares a joint with what's his name? With hang on, with Palmer, and Palmer then passes. Wait, no, hang on, and then yeah, Paul Child shares a joint with Palmer.
You're asserting that Childs has a microscopic amount of thing in him.
In fact, it's the opposite. Um, the Childs did not. Yes, correct. Yes, Child shares a joint with Palmer after Palmer is infected, but before Palmer is fully infected, which allows Childs to test negative at the council, but still be infected. Period. Yes. so, Zach, hang on, where is it? We're dialing in on the end of this theory, I promise.
I think I see the ending here, or at least the honor up to it.
Okay. Okay. Bennings. Do you remember what happens to Bennings at the beginning of the movie? Right at one of the first scenes.
In the first one of the first scenes.
Yes.
Okay, the first scene is with the dog, and then they like
Ding.
shoot the Norwegians.
Yes. Bennings gets licked in the face
By the
by
dog.
a dog. And then you ready for this, Zach? You ready for this dumb shit? What is literally the next thing that Bennings does? Bennings gets licked in the face by a dog. Bennings gets shot.
Yeah.
What is literally the next thing that he does? While he's lying in the snow. Do you remember what he does?
No, I don't remember.
Mac gives Bennings his scotch. And Bennings takes a drink of his scotch.
Oh, you're totally right.
While he's lying in the snow, Bennings takes a drink of Mac's scotch. And what is on Bennings' mouth at that time?
The thing.
There's dog saliva. Microscopic amounts of dog saliva. Far less than 25,000. Right? Far less than 25,000 cells. So would have a much longer incubation period. Right? It might be tens of hours. It might be 24 hours to get up to that level of doubling. But all you need is a couple of cells for you to be dead. My assertion, Zach, is what?
It's the same bottle of scotch at the end.
Boom.
Unknowingly, after successfully killing the thing, they both reinfect themselves.
Correct. Boom. Boom. Thing theory. New series. Boom.
I love it.
Infectious disease. Calculus.
As a child, I kept getting strep throat again and again because I did not clean some of the things that I put near my mouth often.
Oh, I hate that.
So this tracks to me incredibly well because strep throat hangs out a lot longer than you think, and you need a very small load of it to get it again.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. If you don't clean your retainer, you're going to get strep throat again.
If you don't clean your Hey You Pikachu microphone, you're gonna get strep throat again.
Absolutely. Right? You don't sanitize your controller, and if you don't wipe the bottle of your scotch after you give it to a monster. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I fully believe this.
Now, Zach, here's the thing. This theory has a rug pull.
Okay,
Because I have an alt.
an alt.
I have an alt theory.
Okay,
They were both they both had plausible infection moments prior to that scene at the end. This
yeah.
one and this one, right?
Yeah, he then has the bottle later, which means he's been carrying around something that has thing disease on it, and presumably touches it.
Yep, he touches it. It's possible he drank out of it. At 100%, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Wilfred Brimley killed the computer because it was the thing from when Mac poured the scotch in it.
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the dumbest sentence I've ever heard somebody say, and I really like it. I really, really like it. That's so stupid. That's not where I'm going, but that's my favorite sentence we've said on this show in a long time. Yeah, boom. We call it a computer virus for a reason. No, just to bring you back up to here. And that like light ding you got earlier. The alt that I really couldn't stop thinking about was this one. And I was really in a game theory mood about this movie before I got onto the infectious disease route.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like how I play Mafia and Werewolf and all these wonderful games. And sometimes it's asymmetric.
Yeah.
Which means sometimes, even when you're the thing, you don't know who else is the thing, right?
Yeah.
So my alt here, I posit, is that like given where my red pen at, my like given this right that Childs and Mac both knew that Fuchs strongly advised against sharing food. uh Childs and Mac meeting at the end are both things, and he shares this thing. Only a thing would offer food, and only a thing would accept food. And Mac laughs because they're both things and they both pass the test.
Sorry. My brain is overloaded. Run
Okay.
that by me
All
again.
right, I'm gonna do it one more time, okay? It is the end of a game of Mafia, and you don't know
Yeah.
who you still like. You don't have a game master. You don't
Yeah.
know. You are a Mafia member, and you offer the only person who would ever offer a beverage is a Mafia member, right? Only a
Yes.
thing would ever offer a beverage, and only a thing would ever accept a beverage. This is the two of them understanding that they are both things.
Fascinating. That's plausible. That they have like some sort of coded language.
Right? Like I they are both very careful individuals. Extremely careful individuals. Uh 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 the fact that one of them offers a beverage, which would be a very easy way to arouse suspicion, and one of them accepts a beverage, which would be a very easy way to arouse suspicion, makes and the fact that this is so communicable, and they have both had like contact traceable events earlier in the film. My alt theory
Yeah,
is that they're both things at the end of the movie. In that
and
famous
my
scene that
brain.
everyone dissects, they're both things.
Yeah. That's plausible. It would be like the most obvious thing in the world if you're viewing it from an infectious disease standpoint of like don't share a drink with somebody in like the height of an infected area. Like don't accept a drink at a leper colony is probably good advice. Uh and here they are, the only two possibly alive after what they saw, knowing it's probably infectious or like spread that way. Offering a drink is the single most sus thing you can do.
Yeah. And accepting a drink, if you are human, is the stupidest thing you can do.
Yeah, yep.
I think that they are both things at the end of the movie. I think, and this is the wonderful thing about this. I game theoried it out. I'm like, if all players are playing optimally, either both players are things and don't know it, or neither player is a thing and they both know it. They have to be on the same team for that scene to make game theory sense. Now, with that being
If you
said,
if you think somebody is a thing, you don't accept a beverage from them.
yes,
And if you are the thing, you don't accept a beverage from a human.
yes, you only accept a beverage from a thing if you're a thing. You only accept a beverage from a human if you're a human. If you're both humans.
I buy it.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Now, of course, we do have to note that there's a possibility that they're both in the early stages of a mind-destroying infection. That's number 1. And
Yep.
they've been freezing to death for several days. That's number 2.
Yep.
And they were just next to a giant explosion. All of these things can impact your game theory brain. So, it is also possible they weren't playing optimally. Boom. Both things. Shared joints. Scotch. Hell yeah. Unwitting infection of both of them. That we got the bad ending. I
Yeah.
liked it, Zach. What did you think?
I like this a lot. I believe it to some extent, and I'm gonna to do my next rewatch looking for this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for points of infection throughout and do like a rewatch of a like pandemic-y. Here's where you got in physical. It reminds me of almost like Ebola is one where you need to be like in physical contact. It reminds me of that a little bit, like a hemorrhagic fever sort of thing.
Yep, yep.
Smallpox is another good example.
I need you to physically sneeze on me to get it, right? It's not breathing the
Yeah,
same air. I need a particle of you to hit me.
yeah. And the more direct, the better.
Yep. Um and I think that's a really cool way of looking at this, and like in all the discourse, people operate under the assumption that becoming a thing happens immediately or close to immediately. And I think that viewing it from this angle is very interesting. Um, right, you don't get infected with one thing particle and become a thing 10 minutes later. You get infected with billions, you become a thing 10 minutes later, but you get infected with one, you become a thing 12 hours later. And I think that that is why John Carpenter put that 24-hour time skip in. This is a very interesting thing, and this is what got me on this track down here. Like, why put in a time skip at all? Why not if you wanted to increase the paranoia, you could have put in a montage, like a few montages. Um, and that would have accomplished the same thing. Instead, we do a direct time skip where everyone is out of the view of the audience, which is neat and fun.
Yeah,
And I like this movie.
I love this movie, and you've enhanced my enjoyment of it because
Cool.
now I have another angle to look at it through.
All right, Zach. I think that's our show. Uh,
Hell yeah!
if you like this kind of thing, please tell us in the comments. I don't know. I like this kind of thing. We might keep doing it. Zach, tell me your favorite line from the thing that we haven't touched on yet, and that'll be the end of the
Doesn't
recording.
doesn't McCready say, "Yeah, fuck you too, buddy" to the thing when he blows it up?
Yeah, the thing I think the Blair thing roars at him. Like roars and screams and goes, "Yeah, fuck you, buddy."
Yeah, yeah. It's great. That is a realistic one-liner because like he doesn't have time to think of some witty action thing to say. There's a fucking monster in front of him. He's like, "Yeah, fuck you."
All right, let's do it. Here we go. This will be the end of the video. Ready?
Yeah, fuck you, buddy.